Hey guys, welcome back to what will be, I think, the final episode in our top-down space shooter. I'm going to try and add in some local storage here to display the high scores of the game with just 2 events left in our free version limit. So we need to display the high scores or the scores on the game over screen here on the HUD, and we already have them up here on the HUD anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag that down and I'm going to clone them, or I'm going to copy them. So I'm going to hold down Control and I'm going to drag out a copy of our level. I'm going to drag out a copy of our clock, and I'm going to drag out a copy of our text score and put that back up to the top. And I want to be able to set these visible and invisible, but because they're the same instance of these ones up here, if I set them invisible when this game over goes away, they're gonna disappear up here in the HUD. So I don't think what's the best way to do this? I'm going to need to differentiate them. I don't want to give them instant variables. Let's just have a look at the events a minute. When we call game over, when we push spacebar, we set all of that invisible. If I create a sub event here, yeah, I use up an event, which I definitely don't want to do. In fact, I'm going to delete those. I think I'm going to have to pick one. I think I'm going to have to pick our score and drag it down. No, I've changed my mind again. I'm gonna need to create a high score, I think, in the bottom right over here. So let's pop that down there. Let's right justify it. I'm going to change the name of it from score to high score, so it's a different variable altogether. I'm going to create a global variable to control that, because that doesn't impact my events. High score, it's going to be 0. I've still got 2 events left. Perfect. And I need to go into my every tick and I need to say text high score, set text to high score every tick. It's always going to be setting it to the high score. Okay. So at the moment the high score is just going to be 0 because we've got no way of calculating the high score. So what we want to do when we die is we want to do a check. So on game over, and this may eat up, this is going to be close. Double click, I need to do a check, and we need to say compare variable. If our score is greater than or equal to our high score, then we want to say a high score, set text to score. And I don't think I'm going to need every tick saying that, because that's going to conflict. That was setting the high score to high score. In fact, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Ignore that. Let's undo that. Let's keep that in there. I do need that to say that. I just don't need this down here to do that. I don't want to set the text of it. I need to set the variable. So effectively, if the score is higher than the high score, we need to set the value of high score to score, and then the text will automatically update by itself. That's going to work. But I don't want to reset all global variables then if I restart the layer or the layout, because the high score variable will also reset. Get rid of that. Reset all global variables. We don't want to do that. We want to, on game over, on the spacebar press, we're going to have to add them back in, the ones that we want to reset. So we're going to add an action. We're going to go system. We're going to set the value. We're going to set bombs back to 0. And this isn't going to use up our events. We're going to set the value of clock back to 0. We're going to say system. We're going to set the value of enemy speed. What was our enemy speed originally? 75. So we're going to set our enemy speed back to well, yeah, 75. Set it back to 75. Our spawner random number generator doesn't need to change. We need to set the level back to 1. Set value of level to 1. What else do we have? Game over. We're just going to set that anyway. We're going to set game over to true. Do we set game over to false at the beginning? No. Yes, we do. After the countdown timer, so that's fine. We don't need to worry about that. Countdown timer we already set. We're not going to change the high score because that's going to be the high score. Okay, fine. So now when we die, let's just try that out. Let's just get a high score of 1. And now let's die. And now let's restart. And now high score in the bottom right you can see is 1. So now, oh jeez. If I could beat my own high score of 1. 1, 2. There we go. So now our score is 2. Let's get killed. And now our high score has gone to 3. Which we don't want. I'm going to get rid of that 1 second there. I'm going to add it in the wait, 0.1 second. I think it was in the wrong place before, because I want to reset all of this and then restart the layout. Yeah, on game over we set the countdown timer to 3 there, that's fine. If score is equal, yeah, on game over, if score is equal to high score or greater than high score, we set high score to score. But we need to reset the score back to 0. Do we do that at any point? We don't. We need to add that in when we die. So we're going to set value of score back to 0 before we restart the layout. There's 1. And we're dead. Spacebar to play again. Our high score stays at 1. 1, 2, 3, but where's my score? My level's on the top right. Hold on a sec, what's going on here? I don't know if I'm going to be able to add in high score with the limited events that I've got. I think I'm going to need more events, which is a shame. Okay, I've seen the issue here. I've copied this out here, but I just changed it. So this one's saying high score as well. So this one needs to say score. Because I'm a dimwit, and that's the kind of dim-witted things that I do. So yeah, now score. Set text to score. And now change this one to say high score. Where's high score? Oh no, because I've changed them both. It's because I need a new object. Why am I being so silly? Clone it. Don't copy it. Delete that. Bring this one back down on the HUD layer. And now this one is going to be called high score. Like, you probably figured that out like way before I did. And congratulations to you if you did. Let's go back. Now we can say on this event here, set high score to high score. And hopefully things will work as intended in the beginning. There's our score of 1 in the top left, and let's get killed. Now we've set our high score to 1 because 1 was higher than 0. Restart. Our score's gone back to 0. Now 1. Let's go and get a high score of 2. And now let's die and see. There we go. Then our high score sets to 2. So now the game over screen won't go away because there's something going on the event sheet. Let's have a look. So when we die, when we press spacebar, if game over is true, we've set game over to false. Okay, we set game over to true when we die, but we need to set game over to false at some point. When we restart the layout, we restart. Yeah, that game over false variable, we're using it twice. We're using it for the countdown and we're using it for the overlay, and that's confusing these here. I think we need to just set game over to false there. So get killed, we can restart. Get killed, we can restart. There we go. We just added to add in that game over false just at the end there, and now we can restart. Get a high score that's more than 0. Blow everybody up. Oh, we don't get a point when we use the bomb. We need to add in a system, well, add in some, there we go. It's working fine now. We need to add in though, when we use the bomb flash, we add to the score. So let's add in a condition down here. We're going to say system, add to score 1. So when we kill in fact, let's give ourselves more points. Let's add in 3 points if we use the bomb. Although in fact, when the enemy gets destroyed, then we should get a point for every single one on screen. But that's gonna add up. That's gonna take our last line of code, and I don't need that. We could just say add an event, and we could say enemy, and we could say on destroyed add 1 to the player's score. But we're working with a very tight limitation, so I'm just going to add 3 for the bomb flash, and we're just going to give ourselves more points for using the bomb. We should probably give ourselves a point for picking up the bomb. So if we shoot the bomb, let's give ourselves a point. Add to score 1. Why not? Get our score up a little bit. Now we need to save the game, save the score. So we need to use up our last event, event. So add system on start of layout. This is going to go right at the top. Leave it just as it is. Come back down. When we lose at game over, we need to start saving our events. And do you know what? I've just put it in there now. I'm going to need more events, I think. I just don't think it's going to work. On game over, local storage, set item. So we're basically setting our score. So we can put whatever we want in here. Let's just set score. Sorry, not score. High score is the only one we want to save. And the value, we can get rid of these quotation marks, and we could just find the global. So we're basically, this name up the top here, this can be anything you like. I've just called it high score because it makes the most logical sense in terms of looking for it. But the value of that high score is going to be high score. So when we hit game over, when we call that game over function, we're going to set instantly in the user's local device storage, we're going to set a variable that we've called high score to the high score in the game. And then all we do when we load the game is we look for it. So we're going to say local storage, we're going to check that it exists, and we're going to check the high score. It's basically what we called it before. I can't remember if I used a capital. I did. It's got to be spelled exactly the same. So we're going to check that that item exists, and then if it does exist, and this is where we're going to run into problems because we've got no events remaining. So can I get away with moving this line of code up here and copying it for each of these? This is where we get it to set the frame. Instead of saying on created now, which will free up another event for me, will that now change? Let's see, it might not work. Hopefully it will. Well, if I could get past 1. Oh gee, oh there we go, got it. Come on, give me, yeah, it does work, great. Okay, it's a terrible way to go about it because we're repeating ourselves over and over again, but at least it's choosing it in there so I don't have to use up an event. So that means I can now hopefully go up to on start a layout, check item exists, come back down here, add an event, local storage, on item exists. So if it does exist, and that item is high score. If it does exist, let's drag it up so it's all in one place. If it does exist, then what we do is we go local storage and we get the item, and we get that item high score. So we're going to get it. And now we need another event, so I need to cut this down again. Ugh. Every tick, enemy move towards the player. Here we go. I can change this up here. Look. I've got an every tick. There we go. We can drag that in there. So just copy from that every tick, we can move that up to the other one. I can delete that now. Great. Oh, this is cutting it close, man. Add an event, local storage, and then on item get. So when we've got it, when we've got that high score, then we are going to go system, and we're going to set the value of our high score to equal local storage dot item value, and that's what we need to type in there. And I think we've done it, guys. I don't know how or for what reason, but I think we've got it. So we'll start a layout, check that the high score exists. If it does exist, we get it, and when we get it, we set it to the local storage value of high score, which is that. And then all we've done is we've gone local storage set high score to high score. Let's see if this works. I will be amazed. I will be utterly amazed. So let's set ourselves a high score of 1. There we go. Alright, set it back to 0 again. Why does it set it back to 0? It's not what we want. There you go, high score of 2. Play again. For some reason we're resetting the high score when we push spacebar. It's because we are setting score to 0. But I'm not asking it to reset the high score. If score is greater than or equal to high score, set high score to score. So I'm saving it there. What have we got in the every tick up here? We've got set score to score, set high score to high score. So it's not conflicting. We've got, I think it's to do with this one here. I don't think it needs to be in game over. We can just drag it out. One. Dead. There we go. Fine. Still stays as high score 1. Let's get a high score of 2. Let's die. Kill me. Reset. High score stays at 2. Let's close it and reopen it. Oh, and our high score stays at 2. Would you look at that, guys? Take a bow. We've done a good job. The only thing I want to change is I want to make it more visible what these numbers are. So we're going to go up here. It says every tick high score, set it to high score, but before that I want to put these quotation marks and I want to write high score space quotation marks and then the and symbol, and then the same I want to do on clock, set text to in quotation marks timer space and then the and symbol. And what this does is it adds that word in before it adds the global variable. The level, I want to change the same thing. I want to add open quotation, space, and then the and symbol. And I want to do the same thing for score. Or enemies killed, rather. No, score. Because we're going to be giving ourselves +3 when we use the bomb. Space, and then score. And under bombs, I think that's pretty self-explanatory because there's a picture of it. That should now look a little bit more pleasing to the eye. There we go, score 0 times 0, level 1, high score 2. Blow them up. Timer's ticking on. Get the bomb. Let's see if I can change the crosshairs. I think I need to set spawner speed back to 3 when we die, actually. Yeah, because they were spawning in. When I got really crazily down the line there, we're going to set value of spawner speed back to 3. as well as enemy speed, just so it resets everything. I did say I wanted to change the crosshairs, so let's go in, let's double click, let's create a sprite on the HUD layer. That'll be fine. We're going to change it to 8x8, and instead of having a mouse which is ugly as goodness knows what, we're going to make a nice little crosshairs. So we are going to say 1, 2 at the top there, 1, 2 at the bottom, 2 at the right, 2 there, 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 and there, and oh, maybe this. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty decent. Just leave it at that. That's going to be our crosshairs. Let's change the name of it. SPR underscore crosshair. Crosshate? No, crosshair. Type words. And then under every tick here, we're going to go in and we're going to say mouse. I'm going to set cursor from sprite, and it's going to be crosshairs. There it is. Oh, it's tiny. Let's say set cursor style to none, and then every tick we're going to say, where are the crosshairs? Crosshairs, and we're going to set the position of them to the mouse's position, and then they should come back in their normal size then. Mouse.x, mouse.y, and that should be just about fine. There it is. There we go. That's much nicer. There we go. I don't like how they're so bold. I like to tweak things. Everything needs to be just right. Change the opacity to 80%. It's better. That's better. Like it. What do we think, guys? Leave me some comments. Tell me what you think. Oh, the high score's not setting at 0. Let's just make it longer. Let's also set the text here longer. There we go. And the high score saved itself at 363. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I mean, I think we built a pretty decent game. I'm happy with it. Are you happy with it? Leave me a comment below if you've got any questions. It'd be totally fine as a game jam game, and I quite like it. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for following along, guys, and I'll see you in another tutorial.